Welcome to Adamant Lives Episode 2, the show whose intro still fucking rocks. This episode is called Death Has 1,000 Faces, which is what I would expect the 999th sequel to Faces of Death to be called. Unlike Faces of Death, there's more here on display than just footage of people dying. There's this sort of thing. Gay bikers attempting to disguise themselves as Biggles, trying to get intimate with some guy. To think this was considered threatening back then. This is so accidentally homoerotic. The costumes, the body language, the fact that they call each other Ducky. So Miss Jones accidentally catches the guys. I think they're beating the other guy up, but I can't be sure. It could just be rough sex. Homosexuality was illegal in the UK at the time. Whatever she sees, it means that they have to chase her down. In the most leisurely, high-speed chase I have ever seen. This is where the chase begins, 2 minutes 50 seconds into the episode. Let's see how it develops. Fuck. Skip a bit. Again? What the fuck? Why is this taking so long? Oh yeah, because this show tends to be twice as long as it should be. Skip again. Just speed it up till the end. Jesus! 3 minutes and 10 seconds of slow-moving motor scooter chasing? After this, you're gonna have to do something pretty fucking epic to make me feel better, episode.
My dear Miss Jones.
Okay, pretty fucking epic achieved. How lucky was it that she chose that wall to be threatened by? And why does Adam live inside a wall? Oh yeah, it's the 60s. Living inside walls was fashionable.
If you want a piece of the action, just take one more step. Piece of the action? Yes, I like that. Yes, that's just what I want.
Come and get one in the yarbles! If you have any yarbles, you eunuch jelly thou!
What's he on about then? Take him! Whenever you're ready, Jenny. You'll just have to be quicker, my friend.
Wow, neither of them ended up dead even though they were murderers. And he didn't bother to stop them. Looks like he's been affected by the 60s and his lax standards already. So you'll be disappointed to know that he doesn't actually live inside a wall.
My house is above. I believe the modern term is a penthouse.
Adam bought the car park and rebuilt his house on top of it, recreated in the tiniest detail, even buying antiques that he himself used to own. No, they don't explain how he could afford all that. Like the fact that he wasn't arrested for several murders last episode, I put it down to him working for the government. I think in 1902 the government just worked out that he was so brilliant that they created the official post of Imperial Adamant of State just for him, someone who'd be paid enormous sums of money and never be arrested for murder. Meaning that he's been able to take over again now that he's been thawed out. Well, it makes more sense than the TV show's explanation, which is this. The Helmet Brigade were after a piece of Blackpool rock that the man had. Miss Jones took it and Adam does some investigating. For anyone who doesn't know, Blackpool is a little bit like the UK's Jersey Shore, or Las Vegas. But shit. And rock is a phallic confectionery with the name of the place of origin written right through it. Adam finds some plans hidden within. Personally, having handled rock, I wonder how he's able to read the plans without everything sticking to everything else. I also do not envy the person who needs to clean his white gloves. Rock is, how do I put it, sticky as all fuck. Now, a lesser hero would have waited until he got a mission or told the government that he thinks he found evidence of a nefarious plot taking place in Blackpool, but not Adam, he's too badass for paperwork. And they're off to Blackpool, being Britain's hottest holiday spot. I'm fucking embarrassed. Anyway, it's up the tower and talking about killing.
It all happened just about here, as a matter of fact. One died where he stood. The other, poor fellow.
Well, I bet you've never seen the Golden Mile before. The richest part of Britain. A solid mile of entertainment. They've got the lot. From bingo to bosom.
And tits. I love this show. I think I could stand to lose colour in CGI and children's television if we could have more women talking about tits. Anyway, tourists stop over, they decide to track down the maker of the rock. Just in time for a dramatic sting. So they're checking out rock and pass a place owned by my Irish cousin. Huh. Miss Jones is a bitch and throws her rubbish in someone's bag and there's another dramatic sting. I'm not entirely sure, but they might be the bad guys. They talk about Adam and his investigating, even though his investigating has pretty much been him walking around while Miss Jones gambles, bees a prat, and sometimes finds rock.
Now he's found the place, he's not arrested, he's poked his nose in all the corners, we can't risk that.
He's not a Superman, you know, Jeffries.
Neither are you, Danny.
Insinuating you need a Superman to take down Adamant. Damn fucking right. Anyway, the investigations mean that Adamant needs to try some darts, a game he's never played before. Of course, because he's Adam Adamant, he's brilliant at it instantly. Why? Because he's good at knifing people. Yes, that's the actual reason given. Overhearing the criminals talking about Adamant is Sims, the third regular and the best character in the show. Theatrical, sarcastic, and one of the most obviously coded gay characters to ever grace mid-1960s British kids television. And he played Igor in Count Duckula. He introduces himself by saving Adam from being shot. Sims is a Punch and Judy man. Punch and Judy is a puppet show for children based on the hilarity of spousal abuse, and one of the oldest unchanged traditions in British theatre. And it turned up being loved by Napoleon in Time Bandits. All three of the main cast have a meal while they talk about their next move. Apparently, all signs point to a family called the Del Varios. It's gripping stuff, but why oh why does everything behind Adamant look foggy? Yes, I know it's rear projection, but why? What's the point? Couldn't they have just used some extras from the other shot? I'm not convinced that Adamant should have his back to a window anyway. It wasn't 5 minutes ago that some guy tried to shoot him. The Del Varios run a museum of crime, murder, and other fun stuff, and the family matriarch invites Adam on a tour. Because he cannot understand that women are sometimes evil, he goes. Miss Jones is less than impressed.
That Victorian idiot is walking into the museum.
He knows what he's doing.
Sims won't let Miss Jones follow her. I'm not sure if this is because he really can't see Adam having any sort of trouble in the criminal's private crime museum, or if he just doesn't want to stop his performance because he's scared the kids will riot. Either way, Adam is alone, surrounded by weapons and waxworks and... Just how long was that guy standing there, dressed as an executioner? Why not just shoot at him? An axe is a pretty fucking impractical way to kill someone, especially when that someone is an expert in close quarters combat. And swinging an axe in a cardboard room? That's a bit dangerous. Oh, death by Chekhov's dart, to the heart. How unlikely, but awesome.
Going too soon, Mr. Adamant?
Yes, madam. I'm afraid I must. Perhaps I may call again.
Please do.
Oh, by the way, one of your waxworks seems to have melted a little.
Back at the Punch and Judy tent, Adam has the burning need to say a trailer line. Again, it's just a pity that the BBC had no trailers back then.
This is one of the most devilish plots I have yet encountered, and I have but until tonight to solve it.
Adam's worked out what the plot's about, but he's completely opposed to explaining that to the audience, so he goes to check some real estate details, stealing the poor guy's chair in an attempt to seem as douchey as possible. He also manages to find out what the plan found in the rock is all about.
This is a copy of our circuit diagram for the illuminations.
The illuminations are pretty much like Christmas lights, but they're up for about half the year, and they're a lot bigger. Blackpool's famous for them, and they're due to be turned on tomorrow. By the time Adam returns from the estate agent, the criminals have kidnapped Sims and Miss Jones, and the dart woman jabs Adam in the back of the hand with a drugged dart. Just go with it. Anyway, the two criminals aren't into covering their tracks.
I think this gentleman's fade, so we better get him inside the museum.
Yes, no one's going to remember hearing the man yell about the fainted man being taken into the museum. The same knockout scene from the pilot, and we get a villain speech. The Del Varios have filled a metric fuckload of light bulbs from the illuminations with explosives, so when they're turned on, the main business stretch of Blackpool will explode. Like this, but hopefully better acted. Boom! This will apparently allow the other areas of Blackpool, which are mainly owned by the Del Varios, to suddenly become a lot more popular. I don't quite understand that. I would have thought that most of the places to benefit from the destruction of half of Blackpool would have been the other holiday towns in the UK, not the half that wasn't blown up. Anyway, all seems lost, but Madame Del Vario makes one of the three classic blunders, the others being never get involved in a land war in Asia, and never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. She lets Sims recite a poem.
Turn round, and I'll say to your face, you ought to get out of this place. Yes, you ought to get back on the old luggage rack, 'cause you're not just a bag, you're a cape.
Poetry frees Adam Adamant, or he just used the distraction as cover to flex his escapology muscles. Either way, it's on, bitch. Oh, that's disappointing. I hoped for more killing. Oh, there it is, off screen, and you can't actually tell what happened to her, but it's okay because the Dart woman has joined the good guys in the last couple of seconds. Sure, she's going to be in some serious trouble with the law, maybe face the death penalty and probably never see her loved ones again, but it's okay. It's the 60s and she has a regional accent and she's on television. She's just lucky she wasn't raped. Or murdered. Or both. In either order. Adam arrives at the top of Blackpool Tower, by way of climbing. I say that because the guys have no idea where he came from, and I'm pretty sure that Blackpool Tower has a rather loud lift. Anyway, one of the criminals stupidly brings a gun to an Adamant fight, and he goes down rather quickly. The other, well... Adam mocks him. A lot. Before killing him. Fucking badass. Another episode, another plummeting death for a bad guy. So, epilogue. No one gives a shit about warning Blackpool about the bombs all over their city, and everyone who knows exactly where they are dead, so mission accomplished. I assume that later that night the explosion can be heard from Madrid. And because no one wanted to see the end of Sims and his campy, sarcastic but loyal ways, he's hired as Adam's valet.
Now you'll be able to teach me the soft shoe shuffle.
I'm afraid he'll be far too busy for that, my dear, keeping callers to an absolute minimum.
Including Miss Jones, sir.
Especially Miss Jones.
Episode 2, in many ways, is the true pilot to Adamant Lives. The first episode was probably one of the best episodes, but it felt very different to the rest of the series, thanks to the 2 time periods and the amount of storyline it had. Because of the pacing and because of the amount of plot, episode 1 felt much more modern, while this episode onwards could lose about 50% of the runtime and still have it make sense. It's great fun though, the insane plot, the violence, the culture clashes are all still here, and from this episode on we have all 3 of the main cast. And no, I have no idea why it's called Death of a Thousand Faces.